Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 6316 Southwest Tom Street here in Portland. We're located at the rear of the home. We're straight out from the rear left corner of the house. If you're looking at the front of the house from the street, we're just out from these little side garages over here. We have a 4-inch ABS cleanout as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. Transitions here at 7 feet over to 4-inch PVC pipe. Alright, here at 188 feet, this is as far as I'm able to go. I'm going to locate and see where the camera head's at. Alright, I was able to locate the camera head. The line's heading just straight to the rear of the property. We're back into the tree line now, near a shed that's back there. About 8 feet or so in front of where I located the camera head, there is a white PVC cleanout sticking up out of the ground. It's right directly in line with this. So it does appear to be it's actually a tertiary cleanout. We've already had one around 116 feet out. So we're gonna, unfortunately, the one that's around 116 feet out is going to be under the turf. So we're gonna have to reel back here, and we'll move out to that one. We'll miss about 8 feet of sewer line in the process. There's just real no good way for me to get down underneath the turf there to the other cleanout. So now what I've noticed throughout the the line here so far, you can see how that water's kind of rippling back. And it is still draining out, so not all the water's out of there at this point yet. It's a very long line. What I'm liking is how clean this line is. For being 200 plus feet long, it's extremely clean. It's very common to have bellies, is what we're seeing here. It's kind of, every 10-20 feet it seems like there's a little bit of a belly, and then it drains, and then it gets back to a spot where it drains out completely. All the water I'm seeing here so far, though, is not even coming up to the bottom of the camera lens. I mean, it's very minimal. It's about a 1/16 of an inch. Due to the amount of standing water that's in the line here, ideally you wouldn't have it in there, but it does not appear to be affecting the flow. We have no significant debris buildup here in the line. With lines this extensive, what I recommend, it's not like they're not still somewhat prone to debris buildup, but in order to correct this, you'd literally be redoing 200 feet of sewer line to get all that grade back. So I recommend when a house like this changes hands, re-scoping the line in 1 to 2 years to see what it looks like at that point. See if you are getting any debris buildup anywhere. And then I would just go about that by doing hydrojets to keep the line clean. And I mean, at this point, the house has been here a while. I don't see hardly any debris in the line at all. So as long as you're not putting things like paper towels down the line, big giant wads of toilet paper, tampons, cooking grease down the sink, items that shouldn't go down the line, they're going to hang up in standing water like that. Everything else looks like it's shooting right through here. I haven't seen a scrap of toilet paper anywhere in the pipe here so far. If you do end up having to do a hydrojet at this point, it doesn't look like it even needs it. But again, everyone's household lives differently. You might have 2 people here where there might be 5 moving in. Living habits and stuff like that can change how debris builds up. But to redo this entire sewer line would be extremely expensive. Most of it does have a little bit of standing water throughout it. So to correct that, you'd be redoing over a 200-foot sewer line, which, in my opinion, with as little debris that is even in here, I would not recommend correcting it. The cost benefit does not seem there. A jet, hikes in general, and that to me is a much better use of money rather than to spend 20-30 grand redoing a line this length. But anyway, it's important to do that though. Do a rescope in 1 to 2 years. Right now the line is clean. You're at a good baseline now. So if the way that your family lives does cause debris to collect, you'll be able to see that at 1 to 2 years out. If it's minimal, you may not hardly ever have to do hydrojets on this thing. We're getting close to getting back to the clean out here. All the pipes so far we've checked here, again, there is minor standing water throughout. About 75% of what we've scoped there. All the pipe though is in good shape. It's intact. There's no breaches in the line or anything like that. And we're going to reel out and we'll move down way out beyond where the tennis court's at in the backyard area. But all that pipe there is functioning at this time. We're going to go way out there past the tennis court behind that. And the clean out I'm going to is very easy to see. It's sticking about 1.5 feet up out of the ground. All right, we moved out here. This is actually the third clean out down the line here. We have to skip over the second one as it's under the turf. But anyway, there's the back of the tennis court fence we're staring at there. We're about 35, 40 feet away from there. And we have a white PVC clean out. And this is our sewer line. And again, this is actually, it's not even 8 feet. It's probably only about 5 feet from here where the camera stopped, about 5 feet behind where the camera is currently sitting. So that's all the pipe we're going to miss there, unfortunately. Not too much, though. At this point, I'm going to leave the line totally drained. There's so much pipe here, it takes almost 10 minutes to totally drain out. So anyway, we've got a little bit more standing water here. And it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to grade a line this long without having some kind of standing water in it. Once a line goes over 100 feet, in my experience, I've done about 13,000 houses at this point, and 95% of lines that are this long will have standing water in them. That's a lot of ground you have to hope that will not move at all. And the other thing that can be a hindrance is the depth of the main it's hooking onto. If that main is not set deep enough to really put a good angle on this, sometimes you are stuck with having to have standing water in the line. Alright, finally we're here to the end here. In total, almost 300 feet long on the dot. This line just keeps continuing on towards the property line. Where this is at currently is beyond the fence line where I'm not able to get to. But it looks like it's heading essentially towards the right rear corner of the property. Anyway, almost 100 feet beyond this clean out here, we've hit the terminus. So I'm going to go ahead and start reeling back here. So other than about the first probably 50 feet of the sewer line, the rest of it, the other 250 feet of it, does have standing water in it. It did bell out here to 6-inch pipe, by the way, at this spot here at 91 feet. Anyway, because of the length of the line here, to redo 300 feet of sewer pipe is extremely expensive. And honestly, it may be one of those lines you may not be able to get perfect slope and grade out of it anyway. Most main laterals and easements are not set at a depth to grade a line of this length. So again, what I recommend is in 1 year. See, we're getting a little bit more debris buildup out here. This is because this is 270 feet or more out. All that debris has to make it that distance. So I do recommend, because of the debris we're seeing right out here, I recommend hydrojetting the line from start to finish, get it as clean as can be, and then in a year do a rescope on it. That will give you a baseline for what kind of debris buildup you're looking at. If it's looking minimal to nil, you could probably do another scope in total 3 years out from the sale of the house, just so you have an idea of what this thing's going to look like. You may only have to do jets every 3 to 5 years, something like that. So anyway, in a perfect world, we repair the whole thing, but in my opinion, that is not a cost-effective way to go about this one. Again, all the pipe we're seeing here is intact. I don't see any breaks or breaches in the line. We are getting some debris buildup out towards the end of the line here. So anyway, I do recommend having a hydrojet performed. You could jet from the first clean out by the house. You could also just come out to this spot right here. Most of the debris I'm seeing is from this clean out to where it terminates, the last 100 feet of the line. But it wouldn't be a bad idea just to get the entire thing clean as can be. That way, when you look at the line, in a year or two, what you're looking at is only the debris from your household in that time period. I'm going to reel the camera out of the line. Again, the debris buildup is not to a point where it's clogging up the line. The line is functioning at this time, but is obviously being hindered by the standing water there. So you do want to be careful. Only folded toilet paper going down the toilet and regular food debris down the sink. You want to avoid everything else, balled up toilet paper, paper towels, tampons, flushable wipes, cleaning wipes, and grease going down the sink. Those are your main big ones that will hang up in the line.